All right. So today we're going to be looking at readers follow specific guidelines so that we do our best learning. So as I've been saying before, we're going to be all doing different things during reading. And you're used to that. You've been doing that for a while now. But there's going to come a time where I'm going to be working with groups over here, reading, and you're going to be on your own. And you've already been practicing that a little bit already. When I've been doing benchmark assessing over here, you've been working on your own. And a lot of you are doing a great job at that. We're just going to review, though, through the guidelines really quickly so that we all have a refreshed memory of what that looks like. All right? Now, I have been noticing sometimes we have students who need to get my attention, but I'm in the middle of something. You're definitely going to have to be patient when waiting, all right? Because there's going to be times where I can't just immediately stop, turn, and help you, all right? There are times where I might be right in the middle of, like, for example, right now, right in the middle of an assessment. I can't just tell the student I'm working with, freeze, I got to turn and talk to this person, all right? And when it comes to when we start doing reading groups, it's going to be the same way. We're going to be in the middle of discussion. We're going to be in the middle of reading. And you're not going to be able to just come over and I'm going to immediately stop for you. So you have to think about that, all right, when we're going through this. So let's go ahead and quickly go through these guidelines. And all of you have been doing a lot of them already. So none of this will come to a surprise to you at all. So you should always be reading or writing about your thoughts as you read. So reading is thinking. We talked about that at the beginning. When you're reading, you're not just going into autopilot. Autopilot is, I'm sure many of you are familiar with, especially if you do sci-fi and stuff like that, where you're just self-drive, you're not really thinking, it's just happening. You don't want to get into that mode when you're reading, because then you're going to catch yourself at the end and go, I don't even remember what I even read about. I have no clue. Somehow I've made it through 10 pages, but I have no idea what happened. You don't want to get into that mode. You want to be always thinking. And there are strategies that we talked about already when it comes to that. Write down your thoughts as you go along. Take a moment to reflect and think. Maybe reread a paragraph if you feel like you didn't get it very well. Okay? Those are strategies you can do that show that you are thinking about what you're reading. You should always be reading silently, all right? So all of you have been doing that. That really isn't something we have to review very well. All of you have been doing a really good job when it comes to that. And you should always choose just right books. So yesterday we talked about writing down those books that you did complete already or you're working on. Make sure that those books are just right. If you keep finding yourself when you're logging in your reading, that it keeps on going to challenging, or easy, you need to go back and check, because you should be landing in the JC part, or actually JR part. Just right. That's what you should be filling out as you're going through those. But if you find yourself not doing that, then you need to start asking yourself, okay, I need to think a little bit more carefully about the books that I'm choosing. Okay. So you don't have to do this in your reader's response, your mini lesson response part. You do not have to do this one today. But as you're going through, think about yourself. Am I doing my best during reading? Am I thinking while I am reading? Am I reading silently? Am I engaged in working the whole time and not putting my head down or trying to close my eyes or do things like that? We don't want to do any of those things. We want to stay engaged the whole way. All right? So, your tasks for today. You're going to have another cursive practice. And then you're going to read independently. And then because today is Friday, I'll go ahead and let you get on Epic at the end. Okay? So you're going to do cursive. You're going to at least read independently for at least 25 to 30 minutes. At least. and then you can get on Epic, all right? So I really shouldn't see anybody on Epic until like the last maybe 15 minutes, the last 10 minutes. If I see you on way before then, I'm gonna be wondering if you actually follow directions, okay? Another thing I wanna point out, this is cursive practice, so even though it's in print up here, you should be writing it in cursive, okay? Some of you have been writing your cursive practice, I've noticed, in just print. That's not what we're practicing. We're not practicing print, we're practicing our cursive, okay? Most of you are doing a great job. And actually, I also wanted to bring up, a lot of you have fantastic handwriting in cursive. I've actually been pretty impressed with some of you. It's definitely improved since the first day of school. So, just a gentle reminder, we are practicing cursive on cursive practice. And that's all the way through, okay? I know it can be a little deceiving at first when it had the print up at the top, but think of that as a challenge. You've got something in print, it's not giving you a hint on how to write in cursive, so you have to do that yourself, okay? So think of it as a challenge. So, let's see, Daniel, can you hand back the ones that I checked yesterday? And can you hand out the ones that everyone will be doing today? Okay, so now I have time for some questions before we get into it. I saw some hands kind of going up a little bit. Do we have any questions before we start? Zoe.
How do we know that there's like 15 minutes left?
How do we know? Well, we always end at 9:05 on most days. Wednesday we go longer, so it's 9:30, and then on Mondays, I don't know that one by heart, but it isn't the same, right? Because we have a late start. But on the majority of days, we end at 9:05. Any other questions? 9:05, yeah. Another thing you can do is you can just look at when did I start reading, and then add 25 minutes on and say, oh, okay, so that's when I need to stop. All right? So think of it like that way too. You don't have to look at just when class ends. Okay, you guys can go ahead and get started.